Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today. We have a great interview coming up with Tim Stefl from HP. He was one of our mentors, so I'm just going to get right into it. Tim, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you heard about the HP and Dscoop mentoring program?
So yeah, Tim Stefl. I've been with the Indigo family since 1994, so just a little bit of time. I guess what I like to say about it is I'm at 52 now. When you do the math on it, I've actually been inside the Indigo family for longer in my lifetime than I've been outside of the Indigo family. So
That's
um,
awesome.
28 years I'm working on now. So, but no, at the end of the day, the mentoring program. Um, I'll say honestly, was probably sprung on us a little bit, and it was something that Mark Hullum came to a bunch of us and said, "Hey, we're starting this program. We'd like to get you involved, and we think you'd be a good representative for the company." And really, it's not specifically an HP or an Indigo thing. It's really meant to help the industry and help the people coming up in the industry. So, and it doesn't even have to be, quote unquote printing related. So,
Mhm.
at the time when you're looking at it and you're trying to think, do I really want to do this? I probably was pulled into it a little bit kicking and screaming. But I have to say that by the end of it, I actually thought it was one of the best products and projects and processes that I'd been involved with. So I really enjoyed it.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. I mean, and for everyone who doesn't know, Mark Hollum, he is our co-leader in the HB&D Scoop mentoring program. You'll see him around if you decide to join the program, but that's great to hear. I mean, I think, something that really comes to mind when I think about the mentoring program is not just a great experience for the mentees, but also for the mentors, right?
Yeah.
So what is something that you were maybe surprised to learn along the way as a mentor? And how has this also been a learning experience for you?
We didn't know who our mentees were going to be. We had no idea whether they were going to be print students or whatever they were going to be. And I did end up getting a graphic design student, younger girl, 20s age range, and I jokingly say to myself, I'm one of those guys that's like yelling at the kids, get off my lawn, right? My wife says, you're too crusty as an old guy, whatever. But at the end of the day, I see a lot of these kids and I talk to my own children like this. I'm like, you know, you can't look at life like it owes you anything. You have to go out there and go after what you're interested in. Well, I kind of came into it with a little bit of bias, I'll be honest, thinking, okay, I'm talking to a 20 something year old kid that, doesn't know anything from anything. She's going to get into this world. She thinks she wants to be in printing. She's really in graphic design. She's got some art capability and talent, but, where does she think she's going to go with this? And I had a predisposed notion of what I thought I was expecting to see in her.
Hmm.
And I have to be honest, I saw completely the opposite in a good way. She was spectacular. She was thoughtful. She was intelligent. She was interested in learning. She came at it from a very appreciative, thankful position, and none of which I thought was going to be straight across the board. I thought maybe you'd get somebody that's like, they're intelligent, but they know it, and they kind of come across like a know-it-all type of person. But none of that was true. She was spectacular. She was a wonderful student. She was a great mentee. She really wanted to learn, and hugely, hugely appreciative of everything that we talked about. So, I not only found a good mentee in that sense, but I also found a much better um, personal rendition of what I think of that generation. So,
Awesome. That's good. Breaking barriers and biases in all the ways. So
sure.
that's great.
But she's spectacularly talented, really, really amazing artist. And which was funny to me, I have zero artistic skill. In fact, the reason I'm in printing is because I can't actually do art. I can
Mm,
only process and print other people's art. So I found that out really quickly in the process of going to the college I went to. I, went up through architecture, I went up through engineering, I went up through all these other things that I went after, and I really found that the number one thing that I really couldn't do was create anything. I was horrible at all kinds of artistic output. But when I got printing, as a possibility in my career, everything just fit. I didn't have to create the art. I could basically take what other people had done and work with it. So working with Erin specifically, um, where she's 100% art based, was really dramatic for me. It was really a lot of fun. I got to see, creativity from the side of the creator and really see something that I'm totally unfamiliar with and for me probably uncomfortable with. So, but
yeah.
seeing I know good art. I just don't know how to create it myself. So, and she's
Yeah.
amazing. So it was really a lot of fun in that sense.
That's awesome. And that's also, I think, speaks to the point that there's a space for everyone within the print industry, right? Regardless of where you are in your career or what your passion is. A place for everyone. So I'm gonna skip around with the questions
Sure.
and let's continue on this topic. Now that we're talking about, maybe misconceptions about the print industry, what do you think is the biggest misconception about the print industry?
That it's old and antiquated and very, very passe. Obviously, we've been hearing about the paperless office for decades now. People have thought for a very long time that printing is dead. You don't want to get into that market. And I think that was part of what I enjoyed so much about this particular mentoring program. Erin was in her 20s, right? So, I mean, she's a
Mhm.
younger girl. She's, excited about the print community, excited about the overall business. Actually, what her long-term goal really would be is she wants to get into game design. And I don't
That's
mean
awesome.
like video game design, which that generation is really connected to. She actually wants to get into like Monopoly,
Board
Hasbro,
games.
board game type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like she wants to do the artwork on the board game. She wants to design all the pieces, and she wants to do something that would really pull a family together around a dinner table. After dinner, you clear it all off, you put the game out, and you play games for the next 4 to 8 hours, kind of thing. So it was just really cool to see somebody in that generation, because I probably fall into at 50, I probably fall into the generation that's like, get off my lawn and stop, coming near my stuff. So to see a younger generation that's social media oriented, um, you know, video and audio oriented, like everything is about podcasts and all that kind of stuff, be interested in something that's oriented with print was awesome. It was just a really great experience. So
That is so cool. I think that's one of the coolest like career goals I've heard of.
yeah,
Being like a board game fanatic myself, board games and game nights are like a thing in my household like very frequently. So that sounds amazing.
yeah.
And I think it speaks to just like how creative young people are and why it's so important to bring people into the industry. Talking about the program, what was maybe like your highlight of the program for the cycle that you were involved?
So specifically with Erin, obviously one of the things that we talked about was what she was going to do when she got out into the market to do, one-on-one personal interviews and job searches and things like that. And one of the things that I talked to her about was getting her portfolio together that was all of her artwork and putting it into printed form.
Mhm.
And she, like many, she didn't really even know where to start.
Right.
She's got all these physical three-dimensional artworks and didn't really know how to turn them into anything that she could present. So I had her take pictures or scans of everything she had and we turned it into a booklet. So
That's
we actually printed the booklet so that she could take this around on interviews when she's going in to talk to different people, and whatever the discussion topics were, she could not only hand in her resume, but she could say, this booklet is my resume. So it was a really cool opportunity to really use print for something kind of exceptional in this market. So that was a lot of fun, and I showed it to a lot of the people that I work with, and they were blown away by the artwork. So
that
I,
is
I
so
found out I wasn't really too far off in terms of what I thought about her artwork. So
that's amazing. I That is really cool, and I think, that's definitely a very unique project that you were working on with her, and I think that mentors and mentees will find that through the program, they'll also have the opportunity to have interesting projects uniquely, to them that is special for them and that really helps them grow. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I can't wait to see the booklet also. I would
mhm,
love to see it. So if you get a chance, uh,
sure,
please send me a photo or something. Would
you
love to
got it.
share that.
I think I have it somewhere around here.
Awesome.
But I'll have to look in my booklet, my stuff here. But it's here somewhere. Anyway, the other really cool thing about the process actually was when she came up with the idea of being interested in kind of this game design thing.
Mhm.
I actually connected her with some people in the
Mm,
industry through Doris Brown McNally, and some
yeah,
of the people that she is connected with in the industry. And we actually had her on an interview, kind of a practice interview with one of the
yes.
guys in the industry. That he's not specifically Hasbro or what was the
Mhm.
other one she wanted to talk to? Milton Bradley, I think. But anyway, she was talking to this guy who could kind of help her kind of stage her interview in certain ways and who to look for and contacts,
Yeah.
etc. So we all know that a lot of times it also does come down to, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So
Yeah, for
the more
sure.
contacts, the better.
And that's also a huge thing. We had an interview with a mentee, and she mentioned that having access to her mentor's network is one of the biggest benefits of the program, right? And I think
For
it's
sure.
really
Yeah.
special that we have mentors that are really involved and in the process, and they truly want to help their mentees succeed and push them forward and bring them into the industry because we believe it's also valuable. So that is really cool to see and hear from your perspective too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Would you recommend the program to other people and why, specifically as a mentor?
Yeah, 1,000%. Like I said, I did kind of go into this kicking and screaming a little bit. It was just, with the workload that we have in a typical week, and of course now, I mean, this wasn't 100% in COVID times, but now that we're kind of buried under COVID, trying to do this kind of thing on top of the workload that we typically do, you really look at on the front end that it's going to be really daunting. There's going to be a lot of work. There's going to be a lot of discussions. There's going to be a lot of paperwork and trying to keep up with everything. And you know, what you don't realize is that you're getting as much from your mentee as you are giving to the mentee. It seems kind of cliche to say you're paying it forward or any of that kind of stuff, but when you see the light in the eye click in and that person really gets it and they're like, oh, I understand what you're trying to tell me to do. I understand why my daughter wants to be a teacher, right? Because she wants to
Mhm,
help kids get over that hump of I don't get it. How do I get this, right? So
mhm.
seeing a younger kid get to that point and be so enthused with the output. I mean, I put the booklets together and then shipped her a whole bunch of them,
That's
and when
awesome.
she got them, she was just blown away, right? So you see people that aren't really maybe they're not 100% in the market or the industry that you're in, but the principles are all the same for everybody. No matter what you're doing or what
Mhm.
kind of mentoring you're giving to that person. So it really is you get a lot from helping the others.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tim. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about the mentoring program, about your experience?
No, just, from the mentoring side, just look at the mentoring side as an opportunity as a mentor to really see what the younger generation is going to be like. And by the way, they're not always younger generation. We
Mhm,
had some situations in our recent mentoring program where the mentee was actually older than the mentor.
mm,
So it's not always you're giving to a younger generation person. Sometimes you're trying to help somebody that may be changing careers or they might be doing all kinds of different things and why they're looking for this mentoring help.
yeah,
Any help in any process you can help this person with is going to go a long way to them. But what you don't understand and realize until the program is over, it's going to be just as beneficial for you that you may not have thought going into it at that time.
for sure. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tim. I mean, it's
You
been
got it.
a pleasure having you on and hearing all what you had to say and your perspective about the mentoring program. I think we can all agree that it's just a great experience for everyone involved.
Yeah,
So, really happy to have had you on our program. Thank you again.
you got it. Anytime.